Alright, awful days made another video, and I don't know why well, whatever, why ask why, right? This is so insane an argument to have to make. So my simple argument is that I'm sentient. I feel these sensations, some very bad, some quite nice. I project logically that the other humans are certainly as sentient as I am, and certainly feeling quite similarly, and they have these sensations, very bad, very good. Then I extend that and say, well, look, we're mammals, we're not evolutionarily that different than these other organisms. The only thing we have that they don't have is the ability to write Christmas cards, essentially, and to dance the funky chicken and a few other silly things. But substantially, they're doing the same thing. They're loving, they're living, they're struggling, and they're feeling. And so, logically, I have to say they're valuing, just like I am creating value. Just as something valuable happens when I feel, something valuable is happening when they feel. If a corporation was to hurt me, torture me in some way, poison my food recklessly or do something horrible that causes me great suffering, the loss of a leg or something, I would expect compensation for my suffering, because it's a valuable thing, my suffering. If it happens to another human, I would expect compensation. It's just logical that they would be compensated. I wouldn't say, no, the other people don't get compensated because they're not really feeling. No, they get compensated because they're really feeling. And I would say, I'm making the same argument that these animals that we use and exploit and destroy, there's a price has to be paid for that. A justification has to be provided for why you're allowed to take from them in this gross servitude, enslavement manner. You can't just take. You have to justify the taking when you take it. So if somebody took my comfort, they'd have to justify it with some kind of good produced by it, like they created, they used me as a defense shield against the harm of many, many thousands of people, or some other rationale would have to be provided. That's the argument. There's nothing logically challenging there. And I'm just saying, if you're going to tell me that you have a counter theory of life, you have to point out where I've made a mistake somewhere. The mistake is thinking the thems are the same as me. I don't think there's a mistake there. The logical extrapolation of the idea that the real function I'm worried about is the sensation function, that's the one that has me the most concerned. You can't really hurt me intellectually. You can only hurt me in terms of my sensibilities, my comfort. You can hurt my comfort. You can't hurt my intellect. Anyway.
Hey. The claim is, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, so again, the mattering to you thing, I don't see where in what I've just said that there has to be any mattering to you personally thing. It's an acknowledgement of a fact. Just as I would acknowledge the fact that if somebody else is harmed by a corporation, they're entitled to compensation for their harm. It's just, it doesn't matter to me. I don't have to like them. I'm just acknowledging the fact that they've had something taken from them, and there should be a punishment for that taking.
We all agree it matters to the sentient individual. Okay?
Yeah, no, we're not agreeing, because you're saying that it mattering to them doesn't matter. So that's the problem. Okay, you're saying the fact that it matters to them is of no consequence, logically, intellectually. We don't even have to acknowledge the fact that it matters to them. We don't have to acknowledge the fact of its reality, that it automatically requires a justice if it's imposed. There must be a justice. There must be a reason it's imposed.
I think you understand that, but...
No, of course I don't understand that. I don't understand why the suffering would have to be experienced twice to be acknowledged by you. First, the victim has to endure it, and then you somehow have to be personally affected by it. Well, then what's the point? That's kind of insane, isn't it? Let's double the suffering to acknowledge the suffering? No, you just logically acknowledge it. You respect it as a fact. I mean, really, it's a fact. I feel it's a fact. I'm telling you it's a fact. You're not going to unfact it. And I'm saying it's a fact no matter where you go, it's a fact. Anywhere you can go in the universe, it's a fact that Gary is sentient. And Gary has a welfare state. And if Gary's in pain or suffering, it's bad. That's a fact every place in the universe. There's nowhere you could hide from that fact.
You don't acknowledge that fact, that we do acknowledge that it matters and that the point of contention is...
No, you don't acknowledge that it matters. You just said it. It doesn't matter to you, and until it matters to you, it somehow doesn't matter. You're saying it. The mattering of the other individual is of no matter consequence. Okay? Until it matters to you, and that is just nonsense. All that's required is acknowledgement of the fact of it.
You to explain how it matters in a big-ass way.
I'm telling you how it's a fact in a big-ass way. That sentience is a significant thing. And I'm telling you from my personal experience being a sentient, it's important, it's big, it's huge, it's monstrous. There's nothing, I've said it in the other videos over and over and over again, there's nothing more important happening in the universe than the creation of sensation by sensate organisms. Point to me anything else in the universe and I will show you how by comparison it is minimus. It is nothing. And the sentient is everything. That if I'm making anything or doing anything and it's causing unnecessarily, let's say, any sentient organism suffering, that I shouldn't consider preventing that. Because there's no reason to. It's not at all sensible or logical to think suffering is a bad thing.
Well, you have the chance to explain the logic of it.
Well, I think I have I can't make it any simpler. I'm experiencing it. I know of the negative and positive qualitative glue that is stuck to these sensations. I'm saying the same glue is in other people's brains. They're having a qualitative experience. I'm saying brain is where it happens. How can I make it any clearer? Experience happens to sensate organisms. I'm saying the experience has value and we demonstrate acknowledgement of that value every single day by compensating people for their suffering.
Yeah, this is your chance. We're saying, no, it's not.
We're saying, okay, well, give me a list of the we're, because I really want to know who the fuck are all these crazy nuttards who aren't acknowledging that their consciousness isn't better than everybody else's consciousness, and who would be willing to say it doesn't matter to them whether they suffer or not. Show me these people who don't care whether they suffer. And then explain why it's okay to care about your suffering and it's not irrational not to care about somebody else's then. Because you're just caring about the suffering. The your part is quite irrelevant logically. You can't logically make your or my mean anything. It's a word of selfish ego. It's not a logical concept. It has no logical merit in this conversation. My is totally irrelevant, as I am just one snowflake among many snowflakes. For snowflakes to be walking around going my would be idiotic. And for humans to be doing that is idiotic.
It's all logical. I'm saying it's your ideas about this regard for this animal's suffering is born of
respect. It's not regard, it's respect. So use the right word. I'm respecting the experience of suffering. I've had it. It's infinitely respectable. And I'm respecting it wherever it happens to be formed. It's like if mushrooms were gold or something. I wouldn't just respect the ones that were growing on me. I'd say all the mushrooms, wherever they were growing, were gold, are just as respectable. They're just as valuable. Why is it the ones only growing on me are the only ones that would count? That would be logically ignorant. It would be rationally stupid. It would be fucktarded.
An emotional empathy.
Well, again, you keep making the accusation, but you can't prove it. Show me crying in a video. Show me doing any of this crap you claim to be the argument. Show me where I've explained how I had an emotional breakdown and a crisis over blah, 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 blah. Show me that it's emotionalism that drove me to the truth.
And that isn't to say that's entirely a bad thing, the development of empathy in human race.
Again, I have not made arguments expressing any. I have no regard for words like compassion and empathy. I've over and over in videos, I've pointed out how this is not an argument about empathy. I've said it overtly over and over and over and over again. I don't give a fuck about empathy. It's about fucking logic and respect. You fucking bigot. You're the one living in your bigotry. You're denying, you're saying if it isn't got genetic human genes, it's not worth caring about. It's not worth regarding. It's not worth respect. You're the one writing some God code into the fucking truth. God says so. The beasts, they're the beasts. You're the one using the B word. You fucking idiot.
But it's my claim that it's not logical.
Yeah, so that's the extent of, it's my claim, it's not logical. It's my claim you're a fucking pedophile then. I don't know what the fuck you want me to say. It's a fucking idiotic accusation. It's not logical. I won't explain exactly how it's not logical. It's not logical for you to look at the thems and say they're exactly the same as the you. The only difference is the Y and the T. The only differences are irrelevant poo. There's no real fucking meaningful difference.
Let's see if you do explain this logic that I'm beating at your door, requesting.
No, you're not beating at anything. It's at your own fucking limp-dicked brain. You're fucking futile and impotent in your effort because you're not making a fucking counter-argument. You're just making a claim that's just idiotic. You're wrong, I say so. Sorry, that's not an argument.
You to explain the logic of it.
Again, I don't know how I can explain this any more clearly. I'm saying a snowflake is a snowflake is a snowflake is a snowflake. I'm saying there's no distinction, alright, but subtle, irrelevant distinction when it comes to this faculty of creating sensation. I'm saying from personal experience, sensation means something substantial, like everything. I even said in the video, I mean, you can't hurt me, you can't do anything to me. I'm indestructible in a sense if I can't be sensitively hurt.
Tell us. If it's so logical, then you can explain it to us and the matter will be finished.
Us again. Who's the us? Who is the us who can't figure out that their sensations are clearly and just as clear as possibly could be, decidedly qualitatively tainted with decidedly negative and decidedly positive? Who's making this argument? That they don't think that's how their sensate brain is working. That they're having experiences that go into good columns and bad columns. Do again, don't ever do again.
We'll be with you. All go Inmendham. Team Inmendham. Rah, rah, rah.
Again, this should not have to be a Team Inmendham thing. Like I said, if this is some kind of realistic problem with the human race, that it takes some sort of formation of a team to acknowledge the simple fact that feelings are a significant part of our existence and that they are mutual among all the players. I mean, if that simple logic requires a team effort to prove, yeah, this really is an insane asylum.
These idiots actually think that's the truth. Suffering doesn't matter. All that matters is somebody speaking English saying, "Leave me the fuck alone."
I mean, look, you people, you people.
Fuck alone.
I hit the fucking button.
You'll fuck with it.
You people are like a tiny subset of selfish fucker, okay? There's selfish fuckers who just say, I'm a selfish fucker, and leave it at that. But you're trying to say that there's some sort of rationality to your selfish fuckery. So you're just a tiny little slice of the pie. And so quit talking like you're some sort kind of, like this is how people really think. No, most people know suffering sucks. And most people know that their suffering isn't better than other people's suffering. I mean, most people know that. So they're not using your insane rationalizations, that's for certain. They certainly don't need to hear something like, they're certainly not going to say something like when somebody else gets killed because they got pushed into a subway track or something, well, it only matters to them. So I can completely ignore the event, I can condone no compensation required, it's not my fault, it's not none of my business, too bad for them. It doesn't matter anyway because it's a them. That's not how they think. They know, hey, automatically they know, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, and if it happened to me, I'd want to be compensated.
So anything says, leave me the fuck alone, you will fuck with it. And so this asshole is just the typical European, comes to North America and says...
I mean, he's just began his video complaining about that all my video is ad hominem attack.
Yeah, yours was completely irrational, nonsensical attacks on my character, which are lies. Okay, you're a liar. And mine's a perfectly reasonable comparison that if we take your philosophy on face value, all it is bigotry. That's all it's based on. You have irrationally, not logically, made a distinction between humans and said that somehow the important thing about humans is adding 2 plus 2. And because the animals can't, the beasties, can't pass this stupid test of being able to read a book and count to 4, therefore you can torture them. Even though you know it's torture, you're not denying their sentience, you're just saying it doesn't matter to you. There, you're escaping responsibility by just saying, somehow it doesn't matter to me. Well, the somehow is bigotry, nothing else. The somehow is the same disqualification the Europeans used to wipe out their brothers, their literal brothers, I mean at least 15 times removed, and murder them.
But it's not because it is as he also identifies, it's with purpose to reveal an uncredibility in his argument.
Again, what is incredible? It's incredible for me to think that other people are functioning, their brains function just like mine, essentially. Same basic theme. Creation of experiences that fall into the categories of good and bad. That's incredible. That's an incredible theory. Sorry.
So therefore, by his own acknowledgement, it isn't ad hominem.
As you dumb, ignorant heathens don't speak English, therefore we'll just take your shit.
So, this is as far as I got in the video. This video will be longer if he then makes an argument, but I very much doubt it.
Yeah. See, that's an ad hominem, right? When you have no evidence of something, and then you make a claim, that's an ad hominem attack. See, you don't have any evidence of that. There's absolutely nothing in the historical record that would indicate I'm afraid of you in any way whatsoever. So again, just more lame, slanderous accusations out of your scuzzy, putrid, ignorant mouth.
I'll make an addendum. I'm just going to get this up there because this is the norm. Yeah, this is just complete blindness to the point.
No, it's your complete blindness. I made a very disciplined video, the values video. I just pointed out, look, this is where I get value from. Okay, I'm a sentient being. I recognize the other things are sentient beings. I have to do this calculation in some sort of rational manner. Good things happen, bad things happen. I put them in categories, and it doesn't matter if a broken leg happens to me or the broken leg happens to somebody else. It means the same thing in the register. I mean, I went through the explanation, okay? No name calling, no anything. You're the one that came back and says, I'm not a philosopher, and I don't know your lingo, and I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing that, and I have no credibility, and I'm blah, 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 blah. That was your tactic, asshole. Alright, you're the one that brings this shit every time. And it is shit.
And the chance he has to straighten it all out Yeah, this is the forum.
Like I said, I'm giving up on straightening it out, right? Like I said, I don't even think you're a representative of anything but psychopaths, sociopaths, crazy lunatics, okay? You, Skyzer, and who else? All right, you're crazy people. I don't know how. There's no help for you. If you can't figure out that the thems aren't any different than the you, then you're beyond help.
The engagement with myself, such a dumb idiot, you know, to straighten it all out. Well, that's it. We'll call it a day.
Yeah, whatever. You keep calling it a day and not calling it a day. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, unfortunately, I guess there's somebody who's still, like I said, you got 3 likes on this video. Who are these people? Would you just inform me? Who are you? You people who believe the you and the them matter. Okay, so we got Rizzo Dishel. Have you ever shared my darkest secret with you? I love titties. Tell no one. Okay, so that's really useful. I guess he's in a fight with Holiday about making spam comments. And Holiday still doesn't have the courage to block him. So this is kind of, I guess this is sort of funny. This is a test of Holiday's, I will block you if you keep that up. So anyway, boy, Inmendham sure showed you. Ha 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 ha. So, well, that's really a clever remark, isn't it? Read more. So we got Quinkakaka, Skyzer, and Holiday. Is it really? Maybe those are, well, I don't know who else liked the video, so I can't, you know, I don't know who the other guy is. How I wish your first could pop through this monitor fist, but I don't want to dwell on that. He was resorted to calling you a pedophile. Yeah, of course, in the same manner in which he called me all kinds of names, which is without any evidence. That's right, I demonstrated what a non-evidenced accusation looks like. Which is the way of throwing in the towel on any given argument. No, it's a way of pointing out that your argument, your accusation, has absolutely no evidence, and until you prove it, you might as well be a pedophile. Or something like that. I find it disturbingly interesting that this is his go-to insult. Yes, it is a fun insult, I have to admit, and I probably shouldn't be using it for that purpose. But it does demonstrate the point. And that's the important part, that anybody can accuse anybody of anything, and if you don't do it with evidence, you're a scumbag. Quinta. It is almost as if that subject were always on his mind. Well, what sort of sex is an interesting subject in the broad sense. Oh yes, Rizzo Dizzle really is trying to push him. So, yeah, it is funny. Oh dear, I'll be blocked by Holiday. What a terrible price to pay. But yeah, this is just like really rude now, right? That's where it just gets to the point where you're just like, man, you go into the trouble to harass Holiday, right? I mean, in that direct a manner where you're gonna spam his comments, just to be a fuckhead. You know, I mean, he can't find some bigger fish to torture. Oh, I'll go pick on Holiday for the hell of it. He doesn't even have a real disagreement with him. He's just doing it because the guy dared to say, hey, don't be putting crap in my comment section. So that was Holiday's unacceptable statement to him was, could you just, put your titty remarks somewhere else? I mean, I'm trying to have a serious conversation about value and you're just degrading it with titty remarks in my goddamn comment section. And because he drew that line, the old Rizzly Dizzly, the old chaos whore, said, no, we can't have any of that serious shit happen on the internet anywhere, so I have to fuck with this guy. I mean, that's how small his little dick and mind are. They're just the same little micro penis, micro brain. I mean, it just hopelessly pointless. So I guess his Wii ranks are down one, because I guess he can't take the old Rizzle on his side anymore. Or the Dizzle. Anyway, till next time. This is such a hateable planet. I just look at, Professor Anton video is linked here, right? I mean, he did a video this week. I mean, the most incomprehensible pile of crap ever. arguing about information value or something, and you're just like, what are they doing? I mean, words are just symbolic representations, right? I mean, they're just models, essentially. Formulas are descriptions of relationships, and words are symbolic models, representing the reality, like the word box. The word box is basically a synonym for the model of a box, and the different things boxes can do. So it's not like one box, it's not like this box. No, it's all boxes. All possible boxes are now capable of being modeled, and even non-real boxes can be modeled by our vision of a box, because we have the formula for box. Well, anyway, I don't want to make a response, but I mean, we're just saying, what is the value of this crap? What is this? Why do we need to know the details of the relationship between vocabulary words and things in reality? I mean, don't we realize that there's a connection between those two things? And that we're using words as placeholders for describing realities? I mean, fuck. I mean, fuck. Just as crazy and loopy as you can. I mean, this is like having conversations about the microbes living in the crack of the skin in between your toenail and your foot. I mean, why? What? I should worry about that?